Yo, how's it going guys? Litving here and I'm here with another theory video, and this theory is the biggest theory that I'll ever do, that I've ever done yet. And this theory is about basically how will Whole Cake Island progress and what's gonna happen in Whole Cake Island and what will be the consequences of Whole Cake Island and the conclusions. And this is actually kind of mega Whole Cake Island theory, and I just want to give you spoiler alerts first, because if you haven't read chapter 851 and or my speculation that I gave on chapter 852, then go and watch them first. The links will be in the description below. So I rather should have waited a couple more days for the chapter 852 to be released, but nah, I'm fine with that. And these thoughts are just bugging me a lot, so I just wanted to be shared with you guys. And so watch the video to its entire extent, or read the text theory that I've given in the description below or on your screen to its entire extent. And I'm gonna predict whole 25 chapters or so in the chapter, so so you can just say that how much big of the theory it's gonna be. I hope you guys will enjoy and would stay entertained. So basically what we know about the current situation is Luffy and his company wants to rescue Sanji, get a copy of Road Poneglyph, and avoid a conflict with Big Mom. But if he has to conflict Big Mom and has nowhere to run, he has to beat the crap out of her. That's the first thing that we know. And then we know that Sanji is trapped in Whole Cake Island and cannot escape until his wristbands gets free, and he makes sure that Zeff is safe. And we also know that Big Mom wants Germa 66 army, so she wants a fake wedding between Pudding and Sanji, kill all the Vinsmokes during that fake wedding, and take the position of Germa 66's army and technology. And then we know that Caesar is held captive to do the research on making people to grow into giants within 2 weeks of time. And we know that Chopper and Carrot potentially have access to go in and around the Whole Cake Island without being noticed by anyone. And so this being said, let's go on to the theory. Jinbei will free Luffy and Nami along with the other prisoners that have been captured for being unique creatures, and they will get to see, Luffy and Nami will get to see many familiar faces, including Monet, which is a harpy, Brownbeard, which is a centaur, yet another unique creature, beasts from Impel Down, and the lion and the beast here. The images will be on the screen, and all the prisoners will be indebted towards Luffy and will try to repay their debt by helping him out. And the inhuman creatures who don't know how to pay back their debt will be scared of Luffy's conqueror's haki, so they will help Luffy too. And then this news will reach to Big Mom via Denden Mushi, and she will get enraged and go on a rampage, and this will luckily spare Brook's life, and Brook will succeed in making a copy of Poneglyph. Pedro, after defeating Tomago and his soldiers, will head to Rome where Poneglyphs are, and he will aid Brook and would be happy for their position on 2 of the Road Poneglyphs already, one on Zou and one on Whole Cake Island. And then Tomago will wake up and talk about his devil fruit, Egg No Ming, which will have a similar ability to that of crackers. You can create infinite amount of eggs in whatever way you want. And then Jinbei, Luffy and Nami will meet Sanji. Sanji will offer them food and will tell them the whole scene about Pudding and the wedding. Luffy will say that they know about Pudding, and she was even crying after revealing them that what she's gonna do and what their plans are. Sanji will be worried and shocked and will say, "What? She was crying?" And he will ask Luffy to wait until he attends the wedding. Luffy would be fine with that. And before that, Luffy will remove the wristbands out of Sanji's wrist in the same way Rayleigh used his haki to remove those, to remove the neckband out of Kami in the same way. And then Luffy will ask Jinbei to join his crew, and he will say that he already has joined it. The moment he saved Luffy from the prison, he was in his crew already. Luffy will smile, and then Jinbei will tell Luffy that how he saved Pecoms and what is Capone Beach's plan. And after considering the circumstances, they will get to a resort. And that resort, I'm gonna talk about it in a moment. And then Chopper and Carrot will be unable to find Luffy, Nami, Jinbei, and the mirror world will keep on showing Reiju as Sanji, as their faces are quite similar, and because Carrot's drawing is girlish, searching for them he ultimately find out Caesar because Carrot's drawing is girlish and she makes Sanji to look as Reiju, and and mirrors think of Reiju to look like Sanji, and they get confused and they just show where Reiju is. You got my point, right? And then searching for them, he ultimately finds out Caesar, and they go to his rescue with Broly tied up, and they pass through the mirror. Chopper uses new move in his master point, and he confronts Sparrow. And Carrot uses Mink's special technique, and they defeat Sparrow and free Caesar. Chopper would be on verge of death, but due to Carrot's request, because due to Carrot requesting Caesar for treating Chopper, Caesar will treat Chopper, and due to Caesar's kindness, Chopper will think of him as a comrade, and exchange their situations. Caesar, after witnessing Monster Point yet again, will ask Chopper about how he did it. He will tell him about Rumble Ball. Caesar would be shocked and will start acting like Luffy, Usopp and Chopper when they are partying, and he will finally get to know the secret of turning a human into a giant. And then Caesar will make a plan with Chopper and Carrot to break out of the castle during the wedding. Chopper says that he has to help him find Luffy and Nami before anything else. Caesar says that they should ask Sanji about it because he would be knowing that where they are now, and Caesar knows that where Sanji is right now, and all of them meet up with Sanji. They exchange their situation and circumstances and tell to each other that what's happening, and then Sanji tells them that where Luffy's whereabouts, and they will blackmail Broly to take them to the place where Luffy is, or else they will tickle her again, and then in fear of tickling, she agrees to that. All of them except Sanji meets up. Luffy tells everyone to stay where they are and grabs Broly and asks her to take him where Vinsmokes are. They travel through the mirror that Broly already had, and Luffy tells them the whole situation, and that they need to team up against Big Mom. Ichigo says so it was true, and he was talking about Big Mom betraying Vinsmokes because from the very beginning Vinsmokes had a doubt that whether she will betray them or not. Well, it was not shown, but it is according to my predictions that I gave on the upcoming chapter. And then Yonji will laugh and will rush towards Luffy, saying a guy who can even eat up a poisoned fish is not worth allying with us. And then he will try to hit Luffy, but Luffy will be in anger, in a rage, and then Luffy will smash his head right into the ground, and then Neji will stand up from his couch to go and confront Luffy, but Ichigo will stop him because Ichigo understands that how strong Luffy is, and Ichigo is a calm kind of guy. He just doesn't resort to fighting before negotiating. And then Judge is astonished by Sanji's captain's strength, and Vinsmoke threatens Luffy that he will make Sanji's wristband explode, and then Luffy takes them out of his pocket, saying that he already dealt with that. And all Vinsmokes are shocked. They agreed to and they will agree to fight together with Big Mom. They form an alliance, and Luffy will tell them that Capone Beach is also conspiring against Big Mom and plans to take her down. They will join forces. Luffy tells them to pretend like they don't know anything and assure that Sanji will do the same. And he says that wait for Beach to play his move first, then use your forces. it Luffy will kind of make a plan because his enemy is a Yonko, or maybe Sanji has made this plan already and Luffy is just explaining it to Vinsmokes. I don't know, either way it is fine. And then Luffy comes back to Nami and the others through the mirror world again and tells them to get prepared for the wedding the next morning. And Luffy, Jinbe and Caesar were discussing their aces up their sleeves, their trump cards, as they were the main forces of their side. And these three people were the strongest people among the prisoners. And Caesar says that he is safe anyways, as he has already discovered the way to turn a person into a giant. Well, he he just spilled the beans that he already has discovered the way to turn a person into giant. And Luffy and Jinbe would be like, what? And will glare at Caesar in astonishment. And Luffy will say, now things are coming up handy. And Caesar will Caesar will feel terrible and will feel a trouble now, because he will get to know that what Luffy is up to. Yeah. And then Pudding is shown. She is sad and would be crying. She would say that she hopes things go in the way she planned, thinking about how much she cares for Sanji but is forced by Big Mom to listen to her commands. And Sanji was looking through the window again, and Sanji gets to know that Pudding is a nice girl. Pudding is not Pudding is not acting right now, and she is a nice girl. And I'm gonna get a little off topic and will explain to you that why Pudding wasn't being evil in the last chapter. I mean in 850. No, in 851. Yeah, in 851. Because Pudding is Big Mom's favorite. Being one of the higher tier, she has to have the ability to use observation haki. You guys might agree with that. And when Sanji came near her room, she might have sensed Sanji's presence. And due to the fact she is a good actor, she happens to seem like she isn't acting. And when Sanji was eavesdropping, she started to talk in a way to persuade Sanji to leave the wedding and set sail with the Straw Hats. And I just want to say that I really do believe that she isn't evil, because I just read chapters over and over of Whole Cake Island, and I resorted to this thing in particular, that Pudding isn't evil at all. And then we will get to, I just have to rush this video because the details are just getting started, guys. The main wedding day hasn't even started, and now we get to the wedding room. Well, it is here now. Sanji is dressing up and getting ready for his wedding. He leaves a note in Pudding's room. Pudding is getting ready too. Big Mom and her crew are getting ready for the assassination. Vinsmokes, except Yonji and Reiju, comes into the ceremony hall. Wedding cake, almost as big as a ship, is under a lid, and Capone Beach and few of his crew arrives. Only few, because we'll get to that in a second. Big Mom asks her children to bring the royal guests there too, and Big Mom wonders that where Broly and Caesar are, and she would also wonder that why Sparrow was beaten up, and she won't be getting to know that what happened. And then Reiju enters Sanji's room and say that he is looking handsome, he would say thanks, and then Reiju would tell him that their dad explained everything that is going on and what is about to happen and what happened to her last night. And then Sanji will beg to Reiju to protect Pudding from Vinsmoke and Peach at any cost. Reiju is shocked that why would you do that, but Sanji says that, and he says that he just need another favor, Reiju, and he asks for another favor to Reiju, and Reiju agrees that okay, I will do that, I'm cool with that, and says that their father and brother were talking about Sanji and how they think that he never was a guy they thought he would be. I mean, they talk about themselves that Sanji wasn't a bad guy at all. He wasn't weak at all. And then somewhere in the sea, Bellamy gets his crew back and is seen to be nearby and is seen by Bartholomew, who, and both of their ship are on the same route as both of them, and both of them will meet up. Bartholomew will ask Bellamy whether he is on the same way as them, and he will agree, yeah, and say that it's the time he pay his debt to Luffy for waking Bellamy up when he was not in his right mind, and Luffy in the mirror world with everyone else, including the prisoners, says that the time is near and everyone has to rush through this mirror at his call. All of the Luffy and the prisoners would be waiting inside of the mirror world to just go on a rampage after they to follow their plan. After Capone makes his move, they will just rush out of the mirror world, and everyone has to rush through the mirror at his call only. And Pruli was angry because Chopper and Carrot kept tickling her. And then Sanji and Reiju are in a hall, and Reiju moves towards Vinsmoke and Sanji, and Sanji and Reiju are in a hall now. Reiju moves towards Vinsmokes, and Sanji sits on the special couch made for the groom, and one of the royal guests says, "Hey, curly brow, it's your marriage. Where's Mugiwara? He shitted on my alliance with the giants and all of them are now allied with Mugiwara. What should I do now? Give me my alliance back, damn it." And Big Mom will say, "Wait, what? Giants? Hey, Buggy, you're saying that Luffy has an alliance with giants? And the alliance with giants wasn't in my fate, but Garp's grandson made alliance with them? What the heck?" And then she will become really angry, and you know that what's his name, Buggy would be present during the wedding. That's for sure, guys. I can just bet on that. And then Big Mom will get really angry and will call the guards who are looking for people who are missing, and will tell them to find Luffy as soon as possible. And those guards would be like shitting in the pants right now that Mama is angry, we gotta find what we gotta find. And then we gets to scene of Pudding. Pudding will get back to her room and will read the note in which it was written, "Dear fiance, I know that you really wanted me to leave with my friends. Don't ask me how I got to know this. The tears that you shed were enough for me to feel your intentions. Let's get outside this mess if we have to. Let's get outside this mess if we have to go together." And Pudding cries in happiness and thinks of her sister Lola again, and she plans on risking her life to free Sanji off if she has to. And Pudding gets to the hall too. Now with everything set, ceremony was just about to get started. All Vinsmokes, Luffy and his company were ready to roll. They got to see what they were expecting, and Charlotte family saw their demise. And you know what happened? Beach starts his plan, and his crew, who were intended to lift up the lid from the cake that was just in front of Big Mom, pushed Big Mom towards their Captain Capone gang Beach. Big Mom, a Yonko, was now inside his supernova trap, was now inside Supernova Beach's castle. Charlotte family rushes towards Beach in astonishment that what happened, and then Luffy and company comes out of the mirror. Half of the Beach soldier were in the hall too. Vinsmoke order Yonji on a Denden Mushi. Release Germa 66. And then someone opens the door of the hall and a certain person makes his appearance. Charlotte Katakuri, who is third son of Charlotte family, the final sweet commander, Minister of Starch, who has bounty of 1.52 billion belly, is finally here. He goes to attack Beach, but Niji and Sanji comes to block it. It was very hard for them both to stop him, but Ichiji comes to their rescue. Smoothie grabs Pudding and says that why isn't she shooting the Vinsmoke and sitting idly on the couch? As she subdued her, Reiju comes and kicks Smoothie in the neck. And when Smoothie was too much for both to handle, Nami comes to help both of them out. And then we get to a scene with Charlotte Snack, a former sweet commander who lost to Rouge, the Mad Monk, makes his appearance. He goes towards Smoothie to help her out, but is stopped by Jinbei, and Jinbei is followed by Brownbeard and Chopper. Jinbei, Chopper and Brownbeard fights Charlotte Snack. While this was all going on, Chopper, Caesar and Luffy were disappointed by Big Mom already getting defeated, because Chopper wanted Luffy to defeat Big Mom and Caesar just was making the giant thing ready for Luffy, and this disappointed all three of them, and Big Mom already getting defeated was nothing that they have expected, and Beach was being protected by his crew, Vinsmokes, Luffy and his crew, and by all of the prisoners too. And Beach was standing still as he can't move while he is interacting with the things inside of the castle, and suddenly he kneels down on the ground. The door in his chest opens and Big Mom comes out of it. She took all of the lifetime from everyone present in the castle. Yes, yo guys, yes. And making them all dead, Big Mom comes out and starts a rampage. And after hearing this commotion, Brook and Pedro, after hearing this commotion, arrives at the hall, and after them came Tomago with a whole new appearance. His true self was hiding inside of the egg and was developing as a better self, a embryo in an egg, in that kind of way. And he was born as a new person, being even stronger than before. He takes on Pedro and Brook each single-handedly. Yes. And Judge kicks Big Mom, and Luffy uses Gear 3rd Elephant Gatling to throw Big Mom out of the castle because it was so dangerous to fight a Yonko within such a small space. Every one of them could end up dying. And right about now, some fights were inside of the castle and some fights took place outside the castle. And Luffy was getting beaten up by Big Mom. He uses his Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd both, just like when he uses in Thriller Bark, and uses Gum Gum Elephant Jet Shell. He uses his Haki over him and uses Jet Shell. And then this would piss Big Mom off, because the thing that she was eating would be thrown out of her mouth, and she was just avoiding the fight as much as he can because he wanted to warm himself up and needed some time for his trump card. And then we get to fight in these scenes and the conclusion of the fight, because it has been like 20 minutes already, and I'm gonna go to the main fights between the commanders and their opponents. So let's start with the weakest commander. Jack would not Jack Snack versus Jimbei, Chopper and Brownbeard. Fishman Karate, Monster Point and Brownbeard's special move finishes Snack off. Well, Snack fight isn't gonna be that much of importance. It isn't gonna hold that much of importance because it's the weakest, but nah, I don't care. And then we get to Smoothie versus Nami, Reiju and Pudding and Monet. Smoothie will be about to crush the juices out of Reiju. Nami will try to protect her, but she will get caught too. Suddenly, Monet will appear and come to help them all, and she will freeze the juices, and fight will take place, and Pudding will use her devil fruit power to erase the memories that are vital for fighting, and Smoothie will lose, therefore. And then we get to Katakuri versus Sanji, Ichiji and Niji. Well, this is the fight we were waiting for. This is the fight of Sanji. This is the main fight of Year of Sanji, you can say. And Niji will be beaten up. Ichiji would be like 25% stronger than Sanji, and Sanji would be about to get hit by Katakuri, but Ichiji will take the blow and would be thrown out of the castle. Katakuri would follow him and Sanji would follow them too, but Katakuri will beat him very badly and will just make him unconscious, and Sanji would feel like that he is dead, and then Sanji would get enraged and will transform or awaken into a devil. Yes, Sanji will have a transformation. I made a video about it, go check it out if you haven't already. And Sanji will transform, and then Sanji versus Katakuri, fight of third sons of the family. Third son of Vinsmokes versus third son of Charlotte. How epic would that be? How freaking epic would that be, guys? Just think about it. And then Sanji barely wins and then falls down, and then Tamago versus Brook will happen, and Sanji will win that fight. Sanji will have a W, that's for sure. And then Tamago versus Brook and Pedro. New moves will be shown by all three of them. Pedro will eventually fall fighting, and Brook will take care of Tamago and will finish him up and will cut him for good. And then we get to Charlotte family versus prisoners, Yanji, Judge, Germa 66 soldiers and all those small people, etc. Battle will keep on going, it won't come to a conclusion yet. And then we get to main fight, Big Mom versus Luffy. Luffy is gonna go to gear 4th, Bounceman, and he will be so weak against Big Mom in his gear 4th and will easily get defeated, and he will say that he needs something to eat. Big Mom will create a rampage. Because of Caesar, he will get into the castle and he will eat the whole wedding cake, and this will awaken Big Mom's devil fruit, and this will start hitting, and Big Mom will start hitting whatever comes in her way. All the homies will give her their souls, and Luffy will say to Caesar that now is the time. He has now eaten a lot of energy, and he has eaten a lot of cake now, and he has a lot of energy. He has a lot of fat in him, and he will take and then he takes the drug and starts to get transformed into a giant. Caesar finally got to know about the giants and makes Luffy to transform into one, and then everyone would be shocked. He becomes almost as big as Big Mom in her awakened state, and then he says gear 4th. He coat his arm with haki, inflates his arm and transform into giant fighter man. This would be the I guess not the final form of gear 4th, but it would be an epic form of gear 4th. Giant fighter man, this is the name that I came up with. I don't know how it's gonna be, but and then they will exchange blows. Giant Fighterman Luffy will be approximately 85% of awakened Big Mom, and this is an unfair matchup if you ask me. And then everyone will be shocked by seeing Luffy almost equaling out and cancelling out a Yonko's attack, and then everyone would be just hyped up, and he will and he becomes almost as big as Big Mom. And it's gonna be an epic fight if that happened in the way I predicted. And then everyone will be shocked, and then they both will keep fighting for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes the effect of the drug will run out, and Big Mom will try to hit unconscious Luffy, but suddenly a barrier will save him, and a spring-like punch will hit Big Mom's jaw. Yes guys, Alliance has arrived to help Luffy now, and Big Mom will be put into a barrier while Alliance is figuring out how to help Luffy to defeat Big Mom. She will break the barrier. Yes, the first person in the series to ever break the barrier. And Big Mom will lose consciousness and will be attacking unconditionally. And this would be because of Caesar's special gas. Caesar would think that this would make her unconscious, but it actually make her soul unconscious, but the soul of other people that she had kept her going, let her to keep going. And then Pudding will suddenly come towards Big Mom and will erase the memories of Big Mom being a Yonko, fighting the Vinsmoke marriage and fighting Luffy and etc. And people who have high and the thing about Memo fruit will get explained. People who have higher spirit than the Memo fruit user cannot let their memories edited until he or she loses consciousness. And Big Mom, at this moment, Big Mom, a Yonko, would finally get defeated, and the stolen souls will reach back to their respective owners who are alive. And Pudding will take Sanji in her arms, and Sanji will cry and kiss her on the forehead for being such a loyal girl, and will apologize to her for doubting her. And Nami will have tears in her eyes too, and Luffy would be just lying on the ground smiling. And then battle will continue between Charlotte and Vinsmoke. Pudding will say that she has to leave the island because they won't accept her as their sister. Sanji will take a look at Luffy and he will give his approval. But Lomio will say that Sabo Senpai was about to come here too, but we didn't let him because we assured him that Luffy Senpai would be fine, and now he is heading for the Reverie instead. And he will assure that they and the Vinsmoke will take care of Whole Cake Island and will establish this as one of the Luffy's territory along with the Fishman Island. And he will also state that they found Thousand Sunny on the coast and they have just made it ready to set sail. And Caesar will say that now that he has defeated a Yonko and Caesar needs Luffy's protection against another Yonko, Kaido, and everyone will laugh, and Luffy will say, get on this ship then. And then Vinsmoke and Bellamy would be, they will get into the alliance with Luffy. They will join the alliance, and Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Jinbei, Chopper, Caesar, Pudding, Pedro and Carrot will ride the Sunny and head for the Wano while following Law's Weaver card. And I guess 3 or 4 new members in the Straw Hat will be there by the end of this arc, or by the end of Reverie's arc. Jinbei is for sure. Caesar might come, but incoming of Caesar will make Straw Hat definitely an overpowered crew. And then Pudding will also make it overpowered, but I guess if this is what's gonna happen, if Pudding isn't evil, then Pudding is gonna come with Luffy, and then we'll definitely get a Mink, either Carrot or Pedro, whoever it can be. And then I hope that you guys like this theory of mine. I know that it's a long theory, it's been 30 minutes, and it was just a fun theory to make. I just blew up my mind while making this. And this is all for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this is all I can say, guys. I'm just too tired because I'm just making this theory for like 5 or 6 hours right now, because I just have to type it, and I post it on Oro Jackson too. If you haven't checked my Oro Jackson profile, then go check it out. Follow me on Instagram, and like my page on Facebook if you haven't already. I have link on my channel. And if you guys like this theory of mine, make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts in the comment section below, share this video with whoever watches One Piece and whoever is interested in getting to know that what's gonna happen, and having a discussion with other people about One Piece. Share this video with them, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, guys. I would highly appreciate that. And this is all for this video, guys. Thank you and have a nice day. I'm the thing, and I'll see you in the next one.